Hey, I'm Jack, host of the new comedic news and pop culture podcast, The Daily Zeitgeist from How Stuff Works. A little bit about me. I've listened to almost every episode of Stuff You Should Know and Stuff You Missed in History Class. I'm the co-founder and was the editor-in-chief of Cracked for the last 11 years. And our show is basically the day's news and pop culture filtered through a brain that contains all the information that entails.
And I'm Miles Gray, Jack's co-host, a former political operative and pop culture addict, like something I actually take medication for.
He does. And sometimes he's a bunch of different people, like Michael McDonald.
Tell him he's a stranger.
Japanese radio DJ.
Minasan ohayou gozaimasu, Midas desu.
And Making a Murderer's Brendan Dassey.
Yeah. No.
Just a fair warning, guys, you're going to learn a lot, but some of the content can get a little edgy, so not for young ears, but trust us, it's all in good fun. So go to Apple Podcasts and listen and subscribe to The Daily Zeitgeist. It's really good, is our catchphrase. We're still working on it.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head the dead. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood. Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Give me your boom.
It's the weekend, and he is Jalen Rose.
What up, Doe?
And I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
And we are Jalen Jacoby. What do we do?
We give the fine individuals who have kindly supported this program for 6 years exactly what they want when they want it, whether podcast, radio, or television.
Well, NBA fans got what they wanted. They had a big matchup on Thursday night between the Warriors and the Celtics. If you watch or listen to this program, you know I had a very strong prediction about how this would play out on Tuesday. Let's see. After defeating the Brooklyn Nets on Tuesday nights, the Celtics have won 13 straight games. Yay. The bad news, the streak is ending Thursday night when the Warriors come to town. The streak didn't end. I did not predict that correctly. The Warriors lost to the Celtics. The Celtics had a 17-0 run late in the third quarter. All five starters finished in double digits. They held the Warriors to 88 points, shooting only 40% from the floor. You see Kyrie Irving getting buckets late there. Kevin Durant had a chance to make it a game. Couldn't. And there you have it. The Celtics are now 14 games winning in a row, and they beat the best team in the NBA, defending champion Warriors. How impressed were you by the Celtics last night?
Extremely impressed. The only Golden State Warrior that played to their normal productivity was Andre Iguodala. Mm-hmm. And he had a couple of nice bang-bangs during the game,
backwards
too.
On somebody.
But other than that, it was the lowest point total in a game, 88, in which KD, Steph, Clay, and Draymond all participated.
Ooh, good nugget, Jalen.
And this shows me the Boston Celtics have moved into a category that has only been beneficial for two different teams the last handful of years.
What's that?
That's the San Antonio Spurs and the Golden State Warriors, teams that are top five on both ends.
Ooh.
And when you're able to put out that level of intensity, multiple people playing well, being able to switch multiple situations, these two teams, and I talk about the fiber of your squad, happens between 6'6" and 6'9". That's why I always talk about positionless basketball. If you can have those guys that are able to dribble, pass, and shoot, be interchangeable parts. These two teams have more players that fit that criteria than any squads in the whole league.
Well, it seems like you're not alone in thinking that the Celtics are now in a new category, because after the game, Steph was asked about the likelihood that the Warriors could face the Celtics in the finals. And here is what he had to say. Quote, very, very likely. They're playing the best today in the East. They have to beat Cleveland, who has done it 3 years in a row. We'll see. I heard the weather is great here in June, so we'll see. Jalen Rose, do you think Steph Curry really believes that the Celtics will come out of the East and be in the NBA Finals?
He had to give them their props, and they're a 50-50 shot, considering they're going to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
The Celtics?
Correct.
I'm not so sure. I wouldn't write them into the Eastern Conference Finals right now.
I am, and I would. That's without Gordon Hayward. But I'm still taking the Cleveland Cavaliers. Mm-hmm. But I think the thing that people aren't paying attention to in that quote is the Houston Rockets are in the West.
I was about to say that too. Like, he's like, oh, the weather's nice here in June. Like, he already assumed that the Warriors were in the finals. Now, granted, that was part of the question, but a savvy athlete would normally acknowledge that they still have to win the West to get to the finals.
And Steph Curry was disappointed that he only had 9 points. How about a Kyrie Irving that was pretty pedestrian the entire game on the offensive end? Ended up mustering 11 points in the fourth quarter while the entire Golden State Warriors team had 10. Jaylen Brown was terrific, playing with a heavy heart, lost his best friend. I appreciate the maturity of him being able to perform under those tough circumstances.
Absolutely. What I found more concerning than Steph Curry's 3 for 14 from the floor was this new haircut that he debuted. Seems like he's got some little twists going on, and like, I think that looks fine, Jalen, but I'm concerned about what he has in store for the future of this hairstyle. Dreadlock Steph.
I'm not mad at it either way.
Really? I think Aisha might shut it down, though.
It just right now, it's at the embryo stage.
It doesn't look right.
And when you start to grow your hair out and you're trying to get to a hairstyle.
He's on the way there, but he's not there.
It's middle ground, no question about it. I'm not mad at it either way.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the Rockets, because you and I watched the Celtics-Warriors game, and it was a good game. It was intense. It wasn't that entertaining. It was low scoring, but it was intense, and it was close at the end. And everyone got a little tired, especially on the East Coast. And everybody fell asleep. There's only 2 games last night, and everybody fell asleep. And while everyone was sleeping on the East Coast, Chris Paul's debut with the Rockets did not slow down James Harden at all. The Houston Rockets dropped 90 on the Suns in the first half. Harden had 48 points in the game. Jalen, in his last 6 games, Harden has scored, 56, 35, 38, 26, 38, and now 48 points. Right now is James Harden the best scorer in the NBA?
Absolutely. He's the most complete scorer in the game. No question about it. It didn't take this year for me to figure it out. How about offensive player? Because think about it like this.
All the assists.
He's led the league in points and led the league in assists. Not too many. Nobody else in the league can say that. That's truly impressive. With that being said, they now have a legitimate squad that if anybody's going to beat the Golden State Warriors, it's going to be Houston.
It feels like that right now.
People were saying that last year. I wasn't buying it. They didn't have Chris Paul. Capella's improved. Eric Gordon's improved. A second year in D'Antoni's system. The Houston Rockets have a legitimate chance to upset the Golden State Warriors in the West. And I'm going to take it a step further. We talk about the best players in the league.
Jimmy.
He gets left off. And yes, I'm disappointed with how he ended last year. That ho-hum performance against the San Antonio Spurs.
Sure.
James Harden will win MVP this year.
It feels like it right now. It certainly feels like it, because what he does scoring for himself and the assist numbers that you mentioned, like he creates so much of a large percentage of his team's baskets.
And also, Russell was amazing last year, averaging a triple-double. But James Harden was flirting with one.
Sure was. And the addition of Chris Paul, we would assume that perhaps Harden's numbers would go down, or his prominence in that offense would go down. It does feel like early in the season, again, he's only played a few games, and Chris Paul's played 2, it feels like that won't be the case here with Houston. And when you look at the Western Conference, Houston's at the top right now. Last night, his second game of the season, his first game back from, I believe it was a thigh injury, a leg. Played 21 minutes, was 3 for 7. However, still finished the game with 10 assists. What does it tell you that Chris Paul was able to get 10 assists in 21 minutes playing for the Houston Rockets?
Well, a lot of stats beyond just the fact that Chris Paul is a terrific playmaker. In today's games are going to look a lot different and more inflated because of the pace of the game. The more possessions the teams have, shots are taken faster,
especially
in the shot
when you
clock.
score 90 in the first half.
No question about it. But what it shows me is that they have a legitimate opportunity this year to go toe-to-toe with the Golden State Warriors. After last night's basketball, most people are going to talk about the greatness of the Celtics and can that now dethrone LeBron James. I don't think it can, because no Gordon Hayward, Isaiah Thomas is going to come back, Tristan Thompson is going to come back.
Yep.
But in the West, as you mentioned, when everybody was asleep, I was watching that game. And James Harden will win MVP this year. And so based on the fact that he's the most complete offensive player in the entire league, name me somebody else that's led the league in total points and assists.
On the same year? I can't.
Ever.
Someone has. In the history of the NBA.
That's what makes it a great question.
Even from one year to another year. Do you know this, or do we have to research
Tiny
this?
Archibald.
Oh, there you go.
And so, with that being said, adding Chris Paul, the improvement of Capella, the improvement of Eric Gordon, who's in shape now, is a better ball handler, always been a terrific knockdown shooter. Trevor Ariza, who's a Swiss Army knife, one of my favorite glue guys in the game. I wasn't watching necessarily Golden State play against Boston. I was watching them play against Houston, even though they weren't on the same court at the same time.
Explain.
They legitimately, if they get hot, can be a team to go toe-to-toe with the Golden State Warriors. I have not said that about a squad in the last couple of years.
I would say I was watching the Rockets, and they put out a lineup of Tucker, Capella, Ariza, Gordon, and Harden. And you're looking at it and you're saying, you know what, this team used to be an offensive juggernaut, but with the addition of Tucker,
toughness.
You look at it, you're like, they can play defense. Ariza can guard your wing. And then you got Capella, who can rim protect. You got, and Eric Gordon, James Harden aren't going to, they're not exactly the Avery Bradley or Tony Allen or whatever, but they're decent defenders. Like, they can play defense now.
And usually, I'll break it down for everybody like this. As long as you're not giving up blow-bys, and what that's considered is if a guy can do a move and beat you out the first dribble.
Just jab step behind you.
If it takes a guy 2 or 3 dribbles to get by you, help should be there on a good team. Period. No matter who's on the squad. You know where to be. The guy got to take 2 or 3 dribbles and get impeded anyway. Help is going to be there. And so that's what they're able to do, which protects Harden and Gordon under those circumstances.
I didn't expect Tucker to be as important to them as he is, but he really is. He played 33 minutes last night. And what he can do is we always talk about toughness and playing power forwards and rebounding, and he's kind of that workman. But a lot of those like workman, rebounder, power forward guys don't shoot the way that he shoots from 3, which is perfect for the Houston Rockets. Like, they need defense. They add that, but they don't sacrifice three-point shooting. He played 33 minutes last night off the bench, which is a lot. He was 2 for 4 from 3. I mean, this game was kind of out of hand, so you can't really look at the minutes and say this is normally what they're going to do. But his 3-point shooting, I thought, was really helpful for them. And also Ryan Anderson, man.
I got to mention the name too. Ryan Anderson, one of the best knockdown stretch fours in the whole league.
It's just not even. It's when he pulls up, it's never at the 3-point line. It's always behind it, and it's just like it's never a question of whether or not it's going in if he gets a good look.
I had to look this up last year. I'm watching the game. Like, wait a minute. Eric Gordon or Ryan Anderson are never standing on the 3-point line when they shoot it. And there was a stat that of the people who shot from 25 feet or more, and by the way, the 3-point line is 23 feet, so you're already almost a foot and a half behind it.
Pretty big step behind it.
They were 2 of the top 3. The other was Steph Curry. And what that does is allow your ball handler to now turn the corner.
Yep, exactly. Explain to people who don't understand what that means.
When I'm at the top of the floor, the indentions on the court are called the wings. And so if a shooter is literally standing on the line, the defender who's in a really good position facing the ball handler that's driving left, say James Harden is driving left, he now has an option. Am I going to slide 1.5 steps to get toward the lane line and cut Harden off and force him to pass it to my guy and then try to recover and contest the shot late? Versus when he's 2 feet off of the line, now you really have to make an either-or choice. That's a big difference.
And 1.5 steps turning into 2.5 steps.
That's an open shot in the league.
Exactly. That just means that it's one or the other. And with Harden is so prolific and fast that you might not even impede his drive to the hole if you even try.
Correct.
When you're that far away.
Because you know how it is. You're on the wing. You think you're going to slap at the ball. All he do is put his arms through there and you slap in his arm.
And then he gets a foul call and then he gathers and finishes. We've seen him do it for years and years and years. It's what he does. Yep. It's interesting. I'm excited about this Rockets team.
And shout out to Daryl Morey.
Shout out.
He's done a terrific job of building that squad and molded it into one that he thought it could be. It is now.
And having a philosophy and sticking to it. You know what I mean? Like, I think that he gets pegged as like the analytics guy too much to a point. You know what I mean? It's like the analytics guy wouldn't have gone out and got Chris Paul.
No.
You know,
or Tucker.
Yeah, you look at analytics, sure, but you also just use that as one of the variables that you consider when you are putting together a team.
Yeah, it's a tool in the toolbox.
Exactly. We had Thursday Night Football we should keep you abreast on. Pittsburgh Steelers waxed the Tennessee Titans in those funky uniforms. Roethlisberger had 4 touchdowns. Antonio Brown caught the ball in his helmet. Did you see that one?
That was crazy. He had 3 overall.
It was crazy. He had 3 touchdowns, and all that matters is I had both Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown in my fantasy league.
Stop it.
Yeah, in the Jalen Jacoby fantasy league. Started
Good
them
job,
both.
sir.
Started them both. I'm sitting here on Friday morning with 72 points.
That's crazy.
Whoever the Purple Cobras are, they're going down.
Shout out.
Now, we got to talk about the Warriors-Celtics game, but I wanted to go a little bit more in depth on that. Because when you look at what the Celtics are doing, you say, anyone that they bring in the door, they incorporate and they get the most out of. But I just want to bring that to life by mentioning some people. Tice, I think his name is. Okay, he only played 3 minutes. He was in Europe last year. Shane Larkin, who didn't play, he was in Europe last year, overseas. They're taking overseas basketball players and getting legitimate time out of them. I still don't believe. Why don't I believe in the Celtics, Jalen?
Because they lost Gordon Hayward.
I would say if they had a 7-game series against Toronto starting tomorrow, I would say I don't know.
Correct.
I don't know who it is. I don't know who's going to win. Probably go 7. I don't know who's going to win.
And also, there's something to be said for experience. Kyrie has it in the playoffs. Marcus Morris and Al Horford have it. Marcus Smart has it. He was on the squad last year.
So does everybody on the Raptors.
But Jaylen Brown got some last year. Tatum doesn't have any. I really love the fact that the Boston Celtics have put themselves in position to not only be successful right now, but be a team that's one to be reckoned with in the future. It's really impressive. So I don't think it's their time just yet.
You know why I'm so excited for the Celtics' success? Podfather.
I know. No question. No doubt.
Everything changes for the Podfather when
It
the Celtics
does.
are good.
No question.
Everything changes for the Podfather.
Well, let me tell you what changes. He returns messages.
Yeah, he's all excited.
He hits you
wants
on
to talk
Twitter.
hoops. Yeah,
He
exactly.
sends me tweets.
Yeah, he's trying to get it going back and forth between the Pistons and the Celtics on Twitter.
You know.
He's when the Podfather's happy, I'm happy. Big shout out to Bill Simmons.
Hit the OG up.
Hit him up.
Without him, there's no us.
Hit him up during the break.
Hit up the Podfather. Pull out your phone right now and hit up the Podfather.
Shout out.
Hey girl, have you done something new with your scales? Using new moisturizer? Nice. It really brings out the hazel in your eyes. Oh, hold on. Are you using whitening strips too? Your fangs look good, girl. Really good.
A really charming snake charmer? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
Wait, what? Have you been doing Pilates too?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Jalen, everyone agrees that the one-and-done rule in college basketball isn't really working. I don't think there's too many people that love this current system and want it to stay. Adam Silver and Michelle Roberts are among those people that want to see it change. They met with the newly formed Commission on College Basketball to discuss changing it, and our colleague Woj is reporting this.
Shout out.
Quote, Adam Silver could be pushing the sport closer to high school players having the opportunity to directly enter the league again. For that change to happen, though, the union would probably need to cede the one-and-done rule and agree to a mandate that players entering college must stay for 2 years before declaring for the draft. Jalen, what do you think about this proposal instead of one and done, a none or two type of rule?
So I remember being someone that actually said this exact proposal at least 10 years. I'm pretty sure a lot of people can Google me saying it, in particular on Grantland and on Countdown. Just like a lot of positions for people have changed as it relates to whether athletes should get a stipend in college or not based on the amount of money that has infiltrated the collegiate game and all the players get is their scholarship and room and board paid. I don't feel the same way anymore. I think that free market should represent that in the NBA. If you're able to come out after high school and NBA teams want to draft you, you should be able to go make a living.
Do you think you should be able to come out after freshman year, which is not what this proposal says?
When you go to college, and if you decide to leave after your freshman year, you should also be able to. I'm going to give you some evidence. This year's rookie class. This year, the rookies are balling.
Yes. There's at least 9 rookies that do not look like they need another year of college before they need to enter the NBA.
My point exactly.
So you're saying, I agree with you about this. None and 2 is better than 1 and done, but you know what's better than all of that? Allowing people to take jobs that are over 18 if they want to take a job when they're over 18.
It's only 30 teams in the league. There shouldn't be a rule that protects the league from drafting players that aren't ready. That's all this is about. It isn't about the players.
Don't draft someone if you don't think they're ready to play NBA basketball. Draft the players that you think are ready. It's that simple. You just put a lot of time and energy and resources into this. So our man Tom Haberstroh, former colleague of ours, he had this report about Kyrie Irving and all these different players that are taking on these vegan diets. Vegan diets are all the rage right now, and that they help stamina and all this focus on health and diet. Well, our guy Jordan Clarkson here in Los Angeles doesn't necessarily adhere to that strict of a vegan diet.
He'd be the Lakers starting point guard in 10 games.
Let's listen to Jordan Clarkson's game day routine.
My routine is whatever, man. I might wake up and eat some fried chicken or something in the morning, come here, get some shots up, go to the candy store, some Skittles, take a nap, watch a movie, might play some video games.
Oh, Jordan. Somebody's on the telephone.
What's happening?
Adam Silver. It's an important call. You must take it.
Yeah, Mr. Silver, what's going on?
You officially failed your drug test.
What?
Just got the results.
What do you mean?
I saw your interview.
I was just talking about my game day routine.
The first thing that came out of your mouth was fried chicken.
In the morning. Let's take a look. Let's just take a look at exactly what he said in case you didn't fully process that. He wakes up in the morning, eats fried chicken or something. Then he goes to shoot around. Then he goes to the candy store to get Skittles. Then he watches a movie. Then he plays video games. Then he takes a nap. Then he drives to the arena to get some more shots up. That's a failed test. That looks like a Spicoli's day. That looks like an average unemployed stoner's day. Fried chicken for breakfast, play a video game, take a nap, watch a movie.
Shout out.
Jordan Clarkson, that's a failed test. Next, we have this. It's nice to see the military get saluted in the National Football League. You know what I mean? We all support our troops and respect everything the military does for this country, defending it and our freedom. However, the Navy had to apologize today. There was a rogue Navy pilot over Washington State flying around. This picture of, I believe it's called a contrail. A contrail is the trail that a plane leaves, the smoke that a plane leaves, Jalen. The contrail is in the shape of what can only be described as what?
A man's anatomy from the waist down.
Yeah, male genitalia, I would go with.
Oh, boy.
So you haven't seen this picture yet.
Oh, boy.
What if you're just on a walk with your kids around the neighborhood enjoying the beautiful fall in Washington State?
It's a jump rope. Turned upside down.
So what do you think? So when I don't know how military ranking works, but when the corporate or the marshal or the major, when he calls the young pilot into the office and says, McCluskey, look at this picture. Look at this picture, McCluskey. What were you doing out there? What do you think McCluskey says?
I just did that before I quit. I'm out of here.
We all have those imaginary quitting days of all the different things that we would do before quitting.
That's what that is.
It's like final day of senior year of high school. It's just like, I'm just going to do whatever I want.
That's all it is.
That's exactly what that is. He doesn't want that job. He doesn't want to be a pilot anymore. If you want to be a pilot, you do not put that in the sky. I did like your upside down jump rope thing, though. Last week, Mexican authorities seized a van. There were some strange things happening between the Mexico and Arizona border. In this van, there was a bazooka. They weren't using the bazooka as a weapon per se. They were using the bazooka to fire marijuana rockets over the border of Mexico and into Arizona. Huge bundles of marijuana flying over the border, landing in America. Do you think This operation is led by Mitch McGary. We have no idea what he's been doing since he's been out of the league.
Get off my fellow Michigan
You know
alone.
that he's a habitual medicinal guy. Maybe this is what he's been up to. No?
We can find more people that I'm sure are more dedicated to the cause than him.
Here's what this made me think.
You are Die Easy. You used to love Lance. You used to love Mitch. Now you throwing shots.
I'm Die Easy. Here's one thing this made me think of is right now there's like 150 17-year-olds in Arizona being like, let's get in the car. Let's get in the car, let's drive to the Porter, and just look at the sky and see if something lands next to us.
Blue Moon is brewed with Valencia orange peel and a touch of coriander. It's a creative twist on a Belgian-style wheat ale for a taste that shines brighter. Taste responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
I got hit by a car, Jalen.
What?
Yeah, man. Driving the minivan, got the twins in the back, Quincy in the car seat.
What?
Wifey in the passenger seat. Driving right down Glendale, right outside of the Trader. What's that place called? 365. Just sitting there at a light, just sitting there. I'm just stopped. I'm just stopped.
The minivan mafia capo?
The minivan mafia capo. I'm just stopped there. Boom, ran into me from behind.
Ran
into me from behind.
Your police escort?
I don't get down like that. When you're the capo, you don't need that. But it was one of those things where it was not my fault. You know what I mean? I'm looking at my wife like, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just sitting here. And the guy, he knew it was his fault. He said I wasn't paying attention. The first thing I said to him real quick, you on your phone, weren't you? You know what he said?
Yep.
I said it so fast that he couldn't think of a lie. I just said it so quick. I was like, you on your phone, weren't you? He was just like, yep. And I was like, uh-huh. Don't text and drive. Stay off your phone. The next thing you know, you can bump into a minivan. It's got 3 tiny little human beings inside of it.
I'm glad everything is okay.
Yeah, we're good. So we're coming into the weekend as we do on Fridays. We like to give you a very quick snapshot of what's happening this weekend. So we'll go through the games in the NFL, a couple NBA games, a couple college games,
if it was Judge Judy, movies. If it was Judge Judy, would you sue?
No. My neck to hurt for like a little bit, but I'm not tripping. I'm fine. I'm not the type of dude to sue for money. You know what I mean? If I legitimately have a problem, or if I really need to get the car fixed, or something's really broken, sure, we can go through that process. But like, I don't take advantage of situations if it's not real. My neck doesn't hurt. I'm fine.
Karma.
First, we got the early games. Remember, the Bucks and Dolphins actually missed their Week 1 game because of Hurricane Irma. They are back, and they're facing off in the 1 o'clock games in Miami. Whatever.
Bucks were one of those teams. Like the Raiders, people were ready to jump on their bandwagon.
Sure were.
And crown them a team that can advance in the playoffs. Jameis Winston was licking his fingers the last time I saw him playing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go with Miami.
I'm going with Miami, too, just because one of our producers, Alex Montilla, loves the Miami Dolphins and won't stop talking about anything that's not Miami-related.
And one of my good friends, Stephen Ross, is their owner.
Oh, man, I got like a producer on our show, and you got the owner of the team. Okay, see how this goes. Then we have the Lions going into Chicago. That wasn't a very spirited roar there.
Because we ain't won yet.
5-4. You better beat the Bears in Soldier Field.
And we got 2 games in a few days span, because our Super Bowl is Thursday.
Who y'all play Thursday? Don't know.
Minnesota, maybe.
Okay, that'll be a loss. Jaguars, the 6-3 Jaguars led by Blake Bortles. Again, the 6-3 Jaguars led by Blake Bortles.
They're led by their defense.
Going into Cleveland to play the Browns. That's a win for the Jags. We're not even going to talk about it. 8-point spread. If you're a gambling type, I would definitely take the Jags on that one. Even -8. Barron, you back me up on that one? Ravens going in to Green Bay to face the Packers.
This is interesting because
they're both bad.
But a lot of times when we talk about quarterbacks in the league, Joe Flacco doesn't get mentioned, though he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback
is
and
Joe
basically
Flacco elite?
Has a maximum contract. No, he isn't. But in this game without Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to take Baltimore because it seems like John Harbaugh finds ways to get the most out of the least, and Macklin's returning.
Definitely going to be a Packers win in Green Bay. The Ravens not impressed me so far. Now we got a good game, Jalen.
What is it?
We got a good game now.
What is it?
I know this is going to be the game that I'm going to be looking at when I'm at my little bar at the end, right around the end of these games, I always go to watch the fourth quarter so I can watch them all at once, get away from the family. This is what I will be watching. Rams going into Minnesota against the Vikings. Two teams that are 7-2. I believe the Vikings have said that they're sticking with Case Keenum, which I think is the right thing to do.
Yeah, he balled last week.
Threw a couple horrific interceptions
you don't want
at
to
the
put
end of the game.
Teddy Bridgewater out there against the Rams defense now.
No. Aaron Donald will put you right back on the IR. Jalen Rose, who do you like in this game?
I'm going with the Rams.
I'm a die easy Rams
The
fan.
highest scoring team in the league. Let me say that again. The highest scoring team in the league.
Just Woods, Watkins, Kupp, Gurley, Austin, Goff. They've got someone at every single skill position that's having a good year. Watkins, but still, he can spread the field and allow other people to get open. I love the Rams this year.
Such a die easy.
Yeah, man, that's what I do.
Never talked about the Rams in his life before this year.
What are you talking about? Eric Dickerson was a big thing when I was a kid. The Redskins going into New Orleans to face the surprising Saints.
The team from Washington has been an enigma this year. I'm going with the Saints. Their defense has improved. They have Drew Brees, Mark Ingram, big assistant, Kamara coming out of the backfield, catching the ball.
The Saints have morphed into this like 4 yards in a cloud of dust team. Like, you think about Drew Brees and we'll score 45 and you guys will score 41 and we'll still get the win. Like, that's what the program has been for the last couple of years. And if you haven't been paying attention, now it's like we'll play really good defense and we'll run the ball up the middle with Ingram and then we'll kind of get Kamara as a little like mix and match thing. And it's not necessarily here's Drew Brees, throw the ball for 500 yards and see if we can win.
Sean Payton is being a mad scientist with the offense again.
The Chiefs going into MetLife to face the Giants to disappoint the Karam household once again.
Here's the thing. A terrible weekend in my house, our house, is when the Lions and the Giants lose. The problem is the Giants been losing every week.
The Lions are going to beat the
And
Bears.
the Lions lose every other week.
The Giants lost to the 49ers.